Tonight's program is brought to you by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, empowering Hawaiians, strengthening Hawaii. Closed captioning for tonight's program provided by Chaminade University Science Programs, preparing tomorrow's scientists in support of a healthy, sustainable lahui.
Growing up, my best friend was the land. I started with the grass. I had like kupunas that always tell me, no stay inside the house, always go outside. Find something meaningful in life, I guess. So yeah, took it to the aina. At Ka'ala, my first experience was the water. When I got connected to the water, it was so cold compared to the water I have at home. But there was something about that water that made me feel different or made me reconnect to my root or something. There's something about it. Hard to explain.
We got access to this property, 97 acres. We converted it into taro production for youth. So it started as a youth program, working with alienated youth. The back of the valleys in the last 150 years became places to throw your rubbish or illegal activities, and it was pretty much fenced off. So what happened through our access to these mountains, we were able to convert what was once the food basket of the entire Waianae coast to bring it back into its importance. Yeah.
When we first started planning for the year, we agreed that water brought the water down. You know, the needs for water on the Waianae coast are so crucial because it's such a dry climate. We knew that there were stories to be more abundant with water. I mean, the name of our town is Waianae, and we all know that any place that has Wai in it is abundant with fresh water.
Students from the Waianae coast are raising their voices to address an issue that matters to them, an issue in their own backyard. They have serious questions about the state of water resources and access in their area. Where has the Wai of Waianae gone? Efforts of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs over the last 100 years.
By the time the Hawaiian Civic Club was created in 1918, Prince Kalanianaole had been in Congress for 15, 16 years. The climate in Honolulu had really changed by that time. Every time he came home between sessions, he noticed that the conditions for his people were worsening. They weren't getting better. The need for teaching our people handle the new economy that really was dominant in Honolulu was very... One of the main issues is many Hawaiians who had previously lived out in country areas, the Lawai'a, the fishermen, the Mahi'ai, the displaced from their lands. And so into Honolulu and into other towns on the other islands. Early on, Prince would have gatherings at his home, Pualeilani in Waikiki. And while he's flying back and forth, he and his wife, Elizabeth, he would come home and get right to the business of his people. And the idea then for both the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act as well as the establishment of the Hawaiian Civic Club, social and intellectual status in Hawaiian race heritage. A year before the founding of the Hawaiian, when he called together the Alexander Young Hotel, and this was to bring together Hawaiian leaders, 20 people in attendance. And again, looking back to the era when Hawaiians were not allowed to meet in public or to have gatherings. Ali'i is now a United States in Congress. So that turned the idea or the thought of Prince weekly lunch meetings that would ultimately speak to the well-being of the lahui.
Prince Kalanianaole saw the need for Hawaiians to unify in order to advance and uplift years ago resonates today and create opportunities for our people to come together, to reflect on our past, and to use the lessons found therein to inform present-day issues. Vital to this process is the establishment of safe spaces to engage issues, especially those that are controversial, even painful or divisive. Often, difficult discussions help to broaden minds and open hearts towards positive change. Whatever our reasons for coming together and whether we may agree to producing positive change.
OHA invests in educating Hawaii's future leaders.
Kanu Kaina prepared me to be able to give back to the community that raised me. Kanu taught me to appreciate the value of academics alongside the traditional wisdom of my kupuna. Here, like those of many others at Hawaiian charter schools, are preparing us to navigate the world we live in.
OHA, empowering Hawaiians, strengthening Hawaii.
Now's the
When you talk about a civic club, civic means community engagement. So we're talking about anything from promoting voting in elections to cleanups and restoration of historical sites. Another aspect of the clubs which are really more focused on cultural, spiritual activities and ali'i commemorations are to keep the memories of our ali'i top of mind. The idea of getting people involved, getting at all ages from keiki to makua to kupuna to participate in public events, to work on campaigns of any subject matter that speak to the well-being of the community. That's what Hawaiian civic clubs do.
Back on the Waianae Coast, a few resourceful teachers seized an opportunity to connect relevant learning to community needs, extending their students' learning from the classroom to real-world environments.
For the last 2 years, I've been working under the program called CSAP, which is Comprehensive School Alienation Program. But as a team, Katie and I, my co-teacher, we felt that we wanted to change the image of the name. So we understand these kids have been through a lot. We know that this Hawaiian plant, a'ali'i, so a'ali'i kumokani, and we're going to give them a name that's going to make them resilient. So our kids, they come to us maybe 10th grade on the paper. So they are short 14 credits. So they've struggled, and for multiple reasons for them not being at grade level. The challenges are that they don't have a lot of confidence, and all the projects that we did the first year, and it was to approach Ka'ala and ask them, we want to do some service and we want them to learn about project-based. So our partners, Housing Places, so UH Manoa Seeds program, had to Eric Enos, how about some fish pond?
As an initial project to get the students involved and invested in Enos's work, Water for the Farm, a task which proved easier said than done. What started as a field trip to the back of the Waianae Mountains grew into deeper inquiry and investigation into the water flow, access, and diversion.
We started going to different tunnels, like Kunish Tunnel and how the water came out, like clean, pure water, and how long it takes for us to get water. So then they started reading information on policy.
Well, I sit on the Waianae Neighborhood Board and I know how it works. I thought it would be nice to have students introduce some policy that would be really relevant to the community. I first asked the students if they were willing to do it because I knew if they weren't inspired to do something like this, it wasn't going to be a quality project.
They give us like each section on top of the resolution, we gotta explain it. And then I benefit of what we're doing.
Some of the students really didn't think they could do it and they didn't think anybody would take them seriously. I told them if you put in the work, if you interview people and put your experiences and thoughts together, we could do something great. And it took several months. It was very difficult. I think because there was relevance in the drive to do something meaningful, that's what really motivated them to learn and do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Aloha, my name is Ola. This resolution is water access to the Honoi Stream, sponsored by the Ali'i students in Nanakuli High School.
Whereas, according to the Board of Water Supply current data, 1.4 million gallons of water flow from Kunich Channel per day, which is just 16 of the diversions on this coast.
Whereas 2 centuries ago, Hawaiians didn't have to rely on ships bringing in food to survive.
Be it further resolved that releasing the water back to the stream would be like the blood flowing to our...
So we attend many functions, many events, and we bring it back into the community to share as a president's report and so on and so forth. But mainly is to pay attention closely to our community, to what's going on.
Auntie Dali works here at the Kamehameha Civics Club here in Nanakuli, and she got involved shortly after we presented the resolution at the Waianae Water Panel. Auntie Leimana from the Ahamoku Advisory Committee offered to
inspire young people in their own community. Leaders of Nana'i Kapono Hawaiian Civic Club decided to sponsor and present the students' resolution at the association's 2016 convention in Las Vegas. Four who were called to rise above self-doubt and challenging circumstances, they accepted their kuleana and discovered leadership within.
I think leadership development is key in the Hawaiian Civic Club movement. I'm not sure that Prince Kalanianaole really envisioned what would happen, and while he stepped back and let them lead the organization in the process of colonization and influence them and force them to a process is to divide and conquer. But even at that time, Hawaiian groups, Hawaiian families, everyone was sort of fending for themselves in a way that both Reverend Akaiko Akana and Prince Kalanianaole thought was not best for the Hawaiians. So o ka ho'olokahi ana I ka Hawaii, the unifying of Hawaiians, and for Hawaiians to come together. But we still have some of the same challenges in the community, but looking to the founding fathers of the Hawaiian Civic Club of Honolulu, the coming together of Hawaiians and preparing themselves for the new economy, really, to be able to understand business and advance forward, and also at the same time revert to or go back to their oihana, their occupations that required their presence on the land. Farming was diminishing at that time, being diverted. So when you talk about the idea that Hawaiians will greatly benefit from being...
No, I didn't know hardly anything about the civics clubs. We were willing to take this whatever direction it would go to help with our objective, to get the water restored. So we were just very grateful that they would consider even taking a look at it.
I like to say I was voluntold to join the Civic Club. A few years ago, while I was interning at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, one of the kupuna that worked desk to get to my desk, and he would always ask me, "What have you decided if you're going to join yet?" So after I think of a week of him consistently asking, I finally agreed to join. As soon as I told him, the first thing he said is, "Well, I'm gonna need your $35 for the club dues and another $50 for the club shirts." I'm like, what did I get myself into? I just lost 80 bucks. But, I think from then and from joining the Civic Club and being involved with a lot of my Civic Club members, I think it's one of the... What I've noticed is that the Hawaiian Civic Clubs do have a strong presence here at the legislature. We have various civic clubs submitting testimony on a number of different bills, on a number of different issues, and they make their presence known here at the legislature. I think that's what the civic clubs have taught a lot of us, is to debate the issue. Debate is healthy, but once a resolution is passed, that is the stance of the Hawaiian Civic Clubs. And whether you agree with it or not, that's what the Civic Club is going to be advocating for. Returned home from DC, I was pumped, to become civically engaged. And as a typical 21 12-year-old at the time, I had all of these great ideas, but I didn't know how to move it forward. You know, I was eager, I was excited, I was eleu, but it wasn't until I joined the civic clubs until I realized that, okay, you know, things take time, you have to be patient. There are certain ways things are done, or the way that we are doing things is just how it is, and how to convey the issues in a concise way. All of these things can be taught in the Hawaiian Civic Clubs, and I think it's important for more young people to get involved in the Hawaiian Civic Club movement, because the tools that we need to move our people forward can be taught, can be learned, and can be experienced through the Hawaiian Civic Clubs. The Waianae resolution was introduced in 2016 at our convention in Las Vegas. You know, when it was the intention of the resolution was
Teachers were home in Hawaii when the resolution was presented at the convention. Following much debate, however, the association recommended that it be edited and resubmitted at the 2017 convention. Pleased that they had come so far and not ready to give up, the group was motivated to improve upon and refine their resolution, with the goal of presenting it in person the following year. Inspired by their work with Ka'ala Farms and carefully guided by their teachers, these Waianae youth are seeking out ways to restore fresh water to their community. The resolution they drafted made it all the way to the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs 2016 annual convention in Las Vegas, but was voted down during the final session.
So after the convention, we found out that it didn't pass, and we understood because they didn't know who we were. None of us were there, and I think they just didn't understand the issue too much. They wanted to meet with us and you know, understand why we were doing it and who we were.
I feel like it was really important for them for here, and the fact that they don't see it how we, that's the issue right there.
So I took the opportunity to approach Kellen and say, Kellen, join a civic club, join ours, and your voice can be heard, your concerns can be heard.
In the end, we ended up joining the club because they were supportive. Myself, Ms. Fisher, Kellen, everybody became
and time frame to do it.
That didn't pass the first time. The Oahu Council offered to help us revise it, and the president will meet with the students and offered several revisions. He had a lot of questions and suggestions, so making it stronger and doing more research and adding to it.
When they presented the resolution, again, there were some questions that needed to be asked and needed to be put in there. We went out to do a class out there. Several of our members from different civic clubs went out there, and we went down to sit with them to talk about how resolutions are written and what that's all about.
It was hard for me because I didn't know what a resolution is until they started explaining it to us, and I was like, I kind of got a hook of it.
Resolutions are formatted a certain way. You have to provide the context of you have to provide history, but then you have to clearly state out what your intent is, you know, what a resolution will spawn.
I think the students were motivated that they were getting more attention and that, hey, this does have a chance of impacting change. If people want to help us and revise it, then you know, it's definitely getting more momentum, right? So they did seem like they were, you know, somewhat excited to try and make it better and, you know, do more research and find out what it needed to be stronger.
We wrote down like a lot of evidence. Yeah, we did a lot of research on my section.
So one of the workshops that was had was during the to bring the delegates in so the kids could do a presentation to tell them exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it and why they want to do it. And so that particular workshop that was held was for the delegates. So the people who didn't know about it, they were able to see what these kids were doing. And that was offered to them. And that's some of the mentorship that we try to provide for them also too.
We're all learning how the Civics Club process works and getting all your paperwork done and knowing what you're going to say and thinking about what it means to represent your community and take the message to a broader audience. So the next step after that was to take it back to the Oahu Council in July to get it approved at their council meeting. In order to go to the National Convention, it had to be approved by them.
And they made a presentation to Oahu Council. Oahu Council accepted it, and we accepted it as a whole. So when we submitted the resolution went in as an Oahu Council resolution, which meant at that particular time that 25 clubs at that time supports this resolution. Gives it a lot more pull versus one club supporting that resolution.
I think they were excited and pretty challenged to be in that kind of position. I don't think they felt ready. I don't know if anybody feels ready to represent their community. They certainly knew how big of an issue it was. But I think they also felt very honored that they were chosen to represent and speak, on behalf of all those who couldn't make it.
So what happened was, as we started going to places to talk, the kids became invested. And so we could see the difference changing. Just going out and talking about it and making people aware of it made them realize people are listening to us. We really do have something to say. It's so good to see young people coming out here fighting for things that is good.
And then it was so emotional because you could see so many people they're so happy to see us kids come out, and then we're actually doing something for the Aina and doing something good.
Today we were asking the kids, how do you know what a leader is? And then one boy said, well, give them all a challenge, give all of them challenges and see which one comes up in front. That's the one who's a leader.
My purpose was because of the water. Water is life, but how often do we really cherish water? The action that we do nowadays, will it affect our kind in the future? It does.
In 2017, the annual convention for Hawaiian Civic Clubs was held in Seattle, Washington. Delegates representing 58 Hawaiian Civic Clubs prepared themselves for a full day of resolution review and discussion. Healthy debate about issues concerning Hawaiian communities would take place across multiple breakout sessions.
So the convention provides an opportunity for us to hear a number of different perspectives. It allows us as a Lahui to engage in issues that have a direct impact on our lives.
And I first came to convention and was a little blown away by the conversations that were going on relative to our Native Hawaiian community. It was inspiring because a lot of the issues that are addressed in convention are ones that I faced as a young Hawaiian going through high school, going through college.
And I feel that the Hawaiian Civic Club is an excellent way for Hawaiians to learn process. But in order for people to really understand process, they have to really, I think, start at this level.
So some of the things that we do today are very much like what our kupuna did even prior to the overthrow back in the kingdom years of Hawaii. All the clubs to come together and literally with their voting cards raise their hands and ole, yes, we agree, no, we disagree. Kanalua, we're abstaining because we're not clear on the situation. And these are the same words that you would have heard all the way back in the legislature of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
So what makes it really unique is that we understand that we may agree to disagree, but that shouldn't affect our personal relationships that we have with each other. One of the things that keeps bringing me back to the convention every year is being able to spend a week with kupuna from all over the islands, as well as kupuna that are living on the continent.
Because living out of state for us, that's the way they're going to learn their culture, is to get involved with the club and get ideas of how to help the club, to help the people that needs the help.
So that's what's happening here when you see people interacting, and we're rediscovering one another in many ways.
I am the chairman of the Swinomish tribe, which is located about an hour north of Seattle, Washington. And I was invited here by some beautiful Hawaiian people to come and speak to the Civic Club today, and I'm just honored to be here. When we have civic organizations within our communities, their goal is all the same, to try to improve the lifestyles of our native peoples. That is first and foremost. And we got to always remember to keep our eye on the prize, and that is to create a better place for our kids and our grandkids to live in.
So the work that occurs at the Civic Club is so critical to our advancement as a people, and it's really important that we figure out ways to engage the next generation. We know that our younger Hawaiians are more in tune and in sync with social media, with digital media. So we're kind of integrating now. You'll see people with iPads in the committee meetings. You'll see people on their phones scrolling. If we are engaging them through social media, for example, and saying, hey, this resolution passed at convention, perhaps they'll see the light and become a part of the movement.
And I like to think that Kuhio, through the Civic Club movement, his purpose was to create the next generation of leaders, fighting to ensure that in 20 years, Hawaiians are able to thrive, Hawaiians are able to have our culture, our language, and more importantly, that we're still going to be here fighting the good fight.
One of the reasons the Hawaiian language program was even established in the Department of Education was because we had people like Auntie Gladys Brandt helping us, pushing it. And then the membership comes behind, and all our clubs everywhere. We go to the legislature every year with our resolutions, and we advocate for our positions.
Our stance is that our language, it's our first language as a Lahui. And we need to find as many avenues as we can to make sure that language is incorporated in a real way in everything that we do.
Ya'u e vehevehe aku I ko mako I kena hono.
Ike ia ke kanaka I kana olelo. That a person is recognized by the language he speaks. And so the other thing that we passed was to create our own standardized test in Hawaiian. And so that has passed, and the legislature has set aside $1 million or 1.2 million to create these tests. And so there has been movement in that way, for Hawaiian, all prong in public school, immersion schools. We need Hawaiian everywhere.
Every convention I leave feeling energized, feeling ready to continue the work. And it's always great to come back. 2018 is going to be a very exciting time for us as Kanaka. It's going to mark the 125th anniversary of the overthrow. It's going to mark 100 years of the establishment of the Hawaiian Civic Club of Honolulu, and it's also going to be the year of the Hawaiian.
Today, the needs may not be quite the same as they were 100 years ago, but some of the problems and the challenges that were the reality then are still with us today. And that's where we need to come together as a community and uplift everyone. One thing that Reverend Akaiko Akana also says is that when you lift up your lahui, when we lift up the lahui Hawaii, you don't have to bring other people down in order to uplift yourselves. And so lift everyone up, but remember who you are, remember where you come from, and remember the efforts of the kupuna gone before, because now over 100 years, looking back, we can remember and appreciate the good work and the good foresight of our ali'i and the people that he chose as his confidants, as his associates to make this reality happen.
In 2017, the annual convention of Hawaiian Civic Clubs was held in Seattle, Washington. Wai'anae youth traveled as new members of the Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club to present a resolution that called for fresh water to be restored to their community.
At our most recent convention of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, I was really amazed at the number of younger people in attendance. Among them was a group of students who were very vigilant in their particular cause of restoring the water flow into the Wai'anae coast for farming.
Going up to Seattle, I was afraid, because I felt like I wasn't gonna be around people that knows me, like connected to the Aina.
Yeah, it's something that they're definitely not used to. So I think it really challenged them. It really did, and it made them think about how they carry themselves and how they portray themselves in the community on a regular basis, right? Because I mean, people start to hear and talk about you, and it's like you realize, you know, you're being held to a higher standard. So I think it really helped elevate some of the individuals that were involved, and really shaped who they are to this day.
That was a very inspirational part of this convention. You know, it was because we had our younger generation there.
I think if you're a young leader and you're looking at how to make your place in the world, or how to elevate your voice, a good place is to start here at the Civic Club. You have a platform, you have the opportunity to engage in thousands of Hawaiians who already are like-minded. I think it also promotes leadership in all municipalities, being a part of the Civic Club.
Leadership development is really important, especially through the convention process and all of the things that lead up to the convention, the writing, or the identifying of needs in the community that ultimately speak to the well-being of Hawaii and the well-being of Hawaiians. That is our kuleana. And learning how to stand up in front of all of your peers and in the Hawaiian Civic Club convention, the idea that you have your aunties and you have your uncles and cousins.
Presenting was really positive, exciting, but it was emotional too. I mean, I think we all felt very passionate and invested in it, and you know, being in this position to represent our community and working on such an important issue, it has a lot of emotional toll on you, right? So a few of us kind of lost and got a little teary-eyed, and both the presentation and the committee meeting, because of, you know, of the magnitude of this issue.
I was excited, the fact that people had to hear what I had to say. I could tell that they were looking at me different, how they see young keikis like me working on something that could impact the whole community on the west side, but continue on to moku, to different type of moku. And that's all I want.
I think what happens when causes like that, community causes are embraced by the opio, by the younger people, it really is it's a sort of a wake-up call for the entire community to say, wow, these kids they know what they're doing, and they have interest in bringing justice and pono to their aina.
And that's why when I came to the Civic Club and I watched, you know, all the manao from the young people. And I says, they're fighting for it, you know, because they know that's the right thing to do, because they're looking for the future.
Because I can guarantee you that the people that I've seen in action at these meetings are going to be incredible, because they're senators and future, you know, legislators.
Yeah, well, and that's like really the most important thing, getting the youth involved and showing them the importance of politics. Being able to engage them and show them that, you know, that this will affect how you fish. You know, land rights are getting taken every day, and you don't even know that. You're gonna go one day and be like, oh, this place I used to hike up the mountain every day, now there's like a fence here. Why is there a fence? Because of stuff like that, you know. Politics will affect your way of life. No matter how far away you live, it'll eventually reach there. So if we do not get involved, get engaged in the system, then we're gonna lose everything. So yeah, we just have to really bring the younger generation in, you know, to both educate them and also to hand over the kuleana, because that's really what it is. Our kupuna gave it to us, and we have to give it to the next.
But that's, I think, what makes us very unique. It's what makes the Hawaiian Civic Clubs unique. It's here in these committee hearings that you have the opportunity to debate your issue, an opportunity to make a case on your position. And I think that's one of the most valuable things, is because the same thing is being done here at the legislature. You know, so it's not only good practice, but it also helps us to understand how these things move forward. You know, how an idea can be written down on a piece of paper, and then that piece of paper is taken to people who have the power to create action. And then once the chair feels that there has been enough discussion on the issue, they will call for the question, or they will call for the vote.
Please, sir, come to the microphone, identify yourself and your club.
Aloha, Kellen Smith, Makaha Hawaiian Civics Club. I came to this association with the students from Nanakuli. I was very involved in working on the resolution with them. And we spent about almost a year and a half working on it and revising it several times, speaking with Kapuna, doing lots of research. But what we're hoping is that this document will get us to the next level in our efforts to restore the water to the stream in Waianae.
The motion that will be before you is to adopt Resolution 2017 AZ. All those in favor, raise your cards, please. Hold them up. Sergeant at Arms is doing a count.
Identity is the heart of innovation. It's in our DNA. It defines who I am, who we are. It is our connection to everything around us and each other. It's honoring our past to guide us forward from Kumu and Makua to Homana and Keiki. It is our kuleana to ensure our legacy continues.
On the final day of the convention, Civic Club members voted on a resolution to be endorsed by the association. Waianae Coast students and teachers waited in anticipation to learn if their resolution would pass.
All those in favor, raise your cards, please. Hold them up. Sergeant at Arms is doing a count. All those opposed, please, by the same sign. Hold up your cards. All those who are in doubt, Kanalua, hold up your cards, please. All right, members, the vote has returned, and it is 49 in favor, 90 in opposition, 9-0, and 40 Kanalua. So the motion dies, the motion fails, and the resolution is not adopted.
The committee, as well as the entire body, felt that there was still work needed to be done. It is not that we don't support the intent of your work. We just wanted to make it stronger so that when the association testifies before the state legislature or the Department of Land and Natural Resources, that we have this resolution in hand that makes for a strong argument. What was really powerful was that various members in leadership positions as well as different clubs offered support to help them strengthen their resolution to bring it back.
It is our intent to work with and to kako'o these young Native Hawaiians, because what we would like to do is to train our next generation to be amazing advocates. So, with aloha in our hearts, we're saying, right on, mai ka'i, good job for the work that you've done.
Just seeing the OPO's faces while being applauded for their work was really inspiring.
I was so excited for them. For our Haumanas was just seeing their faces, having the opportunity to stand up and say who they are, where they come from, and why they were there.
I was still happy. I wasn't upset or intimidated or anything. Just know that we went there, gave it all our best.
So as soon as we came back home, the students were meeting with people from the Water Commission. They were meeting with people from local government, and action is now being created to achieve the goal that was intended in the resolution. So the way I think we should be looking at it is, although the resolution didn't pass, the discussion itself stemmed action.
This process of going through the resolution, I feel, was a turning point. And if that didn't happen, I don't know if we would have gotten.
Beginning of the school year, I'm very confident in themselves. I felt blessed to see promotion happen throughout the year. Like, they're seeing themselves as a member of a community, even a leader in the community.
It's changed how I see everything. There's really more in Hawaii that we need to know and that we need. Because not only the people is hurting, also the island is hurting us also.
I love to help out on that, I still wanted to continue on farming, and so I went to Ma'o. And what Ma'o was doing for me, that I worked there and I go to school at the same time.
What I think these students have learned over the past couple of years, because we continue to work on the resolution, it shows them that there is a way to affect change, but it also takes a lot of hard work.
It means we're gonna keep doing more and we're gonna keep doing what we gotta do. So when we came back, I was like, you know, you guys gotta keep in touch with me. I wanna do this. I'm gonna stay with you guys to the whole resolution.
And what our students are working on is that they're working on a Hawaiian issue. You know, this is an issue that's extremely important to the Hawaiian community.
You know, and I think that's what Kuhio wanted from us. He wanted us to be engaged on the issues. He understood the wrongs that were committed to our people, but yet we would have to continue to fight for it, fight for what we want, you know, and fight to attain justice for our Lahui. And I think the Hawaiian Civic Clubs have done that. You know, the Hawaiian Civic Clubs for 100 years for our Hawaiian people.
We'd like to encourage more members, more people in the community to join Hawaiian Civic Clubs so that that kind of community engagement can continue to occur.
Being involved in the civic clubs, you know, there's a lot of kuleana. A lot of the times for us younger members, the kuleana is to listen and to step up when you have to. And for the kupuna, their kuleana is to ensure that the next generation of Hawaiian Civic Club leaders are equipped with the ike, with the knowledge, you know, and with the experience needed to carry our movement forward for another 100 years.